we got to talk about the OG. He's built the franchise, and this is why I like it. It go back to you being the backup, and now you the face of the franchise. Because you know why? You brought the dog out you.
Mm-hmm.
You start being the dog. You start owning it. You start claiming it. And that's what happens when you be a dog. Trae Young. Do you feel that, especially how the NBA is, it's politics. They got, you going to be the all-star this year. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows the requirements of being an all-star. Do you think our OG, our veteran, face of the franchise, is underrated?
It's a good question, because there's this whole concept, right, in sports talk media that, like, you get so overrated, you become underrated kind of thing.
Right.
And I think because the last couple years was this whole experimental setup with him and DeJounte, it wasn't just about Trae anymore, right? It was about those two guys together. 2 all-stars sharing a backcourt, big trade, 3 first-round picks out the door, and kind of all this pressure about, is this fit going to work, as opposed to just how good are these guys individually, right? One guy would get hurt. It'd be their show. There was all this, evaluation about what they looked like separately compared to what they looked like individually. Now you have this situation where it's back to Trae being kind of the main heliocentric pick and roll creator at the top of the key. He's got secondary guys. Dyson has his own on-ball abilities.
Yes, sir.
We see Zach. We see Jalen when healthy. Karras comes in now post-trade deadline. He's uplifting the second unit. But, yeah, like, last night was such an example of how quietly Trae Young can just be an assassin out there. Career high 21 free throw attempts, knocks them all down. And he honestly didn't even have that great of a game. Like, he seemed a little bit out of sorts. He was leaving his feet a lot without necessarily having a plan with the ball. That's not something we typically see out of him. Jump passes, that's more of like a bigger guard kind of thing, a Tyrese Halliburton, a LeBron James, a Luka Doncic, because when you are that big, you can leave the floor and still be able to survey things. For Trae, he seemed a little bit off kilter, and he's still putting up 30 and 12. So that ability to just produce all the time, it does get taken for granted, because I think there's this notion in the league that availability is the greatest ability.
Right.
To me, it's consistency. That's what separates all-stars from starters, and what separates starters from rotation players, and what separates rotation players from your 12th, your 13th, your 15th man. If you can go out and do X, whatever it is, for Trae Young, it's go out and get 30 and 10 every night.
Easy.
With
the help of the team.
With the help of the team.
Right.
That does start to get underrated because people take it for granted. So I would agree that there is some type of, I don't know, not appreciating enough for someone his size. Like, he's my height.
Right.
Like, I always forget until I see him in a locker room, or I talk
aggressive.
to him shoot around, and he's strong. Like, he's not, Steph is still stacked compared to him. For him to be out there against 7-footers, and he gets into the paint, he gets 2 feet into the paint.
He gonna get there.
He's finishing. It really is an impressive just overall apparatus of what he does that I do think gets taken for granted and overlooked, because he just does it all the time. And, he gets kind of grouped in with the guys who complain about fouls and the whole, foul baiting stuff that he was really at the center of a couple years ago. That discourse, I think, takes away from appreciating what he does, because also, I've said this back to when he was at Oklahoma. His passing is actually his greatest skill set. It's not the ability to shoot from the logo that gets all the attention and the Bleacher Report highlights and what have you.
Right.
He can manipulate the defense like the best of them, especially at a high pick and roll stuff, where all 5 guys are looking at him. He's a maestro, able to look here and fire it to the opposite corner. That type of playmaking ability, I think, gets devalued with him because he can do that, highlight-worthy shoot from half court. That, of course, is impressive in its own right, but from like a winning standpoint, from an engaging the whole offense standpoint, that ability to really have the ball and the whole defense on a string with every single one of your bounces, it's really, really special.
I think the goal is longevity now. It's not about listening to the critics or even listening to us. You know what I'm saying? Because we just analysts. We just watching from being a fan. They're actually out there doing it as a profession. But I think now Trae has to kick into his veteran position, which means is I make everybody play better, which means is I got to bring the dog out of all y'all. You feel me? Like, you can't wait for me and then pick up. I got to train. This is my team. You good for this, you good for this, you good for this. If you do that, I can get you the ball. I have 35 assists. You feel me? If you stand over there and
that would be an NBA record.
That'll be an NBA record. But if all y'all getting shots, who have contributed? Who assists you with all those shots? And then, like you said, quietly, you didn't even know I scored 22 points. I'm going to take all the fouls.
He's starting to do that, though. Number one, bringing Zach and bringing Dyson to Oklahoma this summer was such a quiet, behind-the-scenes, OG type of thing to do.
At Dyson.
On the floor now, too, you're seeing Trae hit ahead to these guys, and he's letting them go out and make decisions, which benefits him in the long run, too. It's not like a sneaky, selfish thing. It's a thing that just it's a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing, where if you've got Dyson, if you've got Zach, if you've got T-Man, if you've got Karis LeVert, if you've got anyone who you have a little bit of faith in being able to create something in transition with the defense on their heels, he hits ahead to them. They put pressure on the defense that allows him.
And he can dish it back.
Exactly.
It allows him to preserve his energy.
Exactly.
Right.
And for someone who is as dominant on the ball as he is, to be able to perform off the catch when the defense is coming at him, he's so shifty, he's so crafty, he can use the defenders' momentum against them. It really adds a whole secondary look to the offense that doesn't really exist when he's just on the ball. So that also takes, I think, some maturity to understand, especially someone who's been so comfortable his whole life, pounding. If I give it up, it's going to come back.
Right.
I think that's something that just in life, not let alone basketball, if you give, you're going to get back more. That's something that I think takes some time to appreciate.
And as a team, when there's a situation that goes good, as a coach, as a coach standpoint, do you start with that situation and then you build around it? Like, you just don't be like, okay, they went out there and played good together, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna just sub, and you be like, oh, wait a minute, did you not just see the dynamic of who you just had on the court? Pay attention to the energy. Pay attention to how they play off each other, because we reporters and we just be watching. You know what I'm saying? We analysts. Yeah. But like
we reporters.
We are reporters. We just be watching what they think they supposed to do or what we think they supposed to do. Yeah. But as a coach standpoint, right, when you have a certain group out there, you just don't put it to the side like, oh, we just had a good quarter, and be like, no, you got to pay attention to the dynamics and the chemistry. Some people just play better off each other.